All right, well, thank you. Good evening. And before you tonight, we have a request for council acceptance of the final design for the Blackbird Crossing Trail Station project. As you'll recall, through several years, this has gone through a lot of evolution, but here as of late, we had Dill Hatch from Welch Comer Associates from Coeur d'Alene work up the final design. And as you can see, this is the final rendering that we had. The only thing that's to disregard as far as a final is the bicycle sculpture. That was just to show that there would be a future art piece, and so he threw that in there. The cost estimate to construct this is at $35,000. Thus far, we have $4,940 donated toward this, and this project was reviewed by the Parks and Recreation Commission and the Public Works Finance Committee, both recommending acceptance of this. Take you through this a little bit. You can see at the bottom, this was the on scratch pad design where the original or the final came from, and on the map you can see East Side Marketplace right here. Here's the Troy Highway, and here is the site where this would be constructed. Here's the NRS warehouse, or the old Tidyman's. A little closer looking from where this would be constructed across to the East Side Marketplace. Looking a little bit east, you can see what that topography looks like. And just part of the designing that we did, just to show you where things would set on that piece of property. And then, as with part of the landscape architecture's plans, we have the planting and also the amenities layout. Here's the planting and the amenities. You can see surrounded by boulders. We have 4 benches, a drinking fountain. The drinking fountain will be a type that not only just get a drink of water, but you can also fill your water bottles, because the people using the bicycles use those, and also a dish for dogs. It'll include a couple bike racks, a trash can, signage, landscaping, and of course the space for the art piece. The art piece is not included in the $35,000. The arts department will take that, and it'll be a separate project, and see where that, I have no idea what that'll actually end up being. Little breakdown of the costs, adding up to the $35,000. Site work, of course, it cost the most. The amenities, of these amenities, of course, some of that we would anticipate. For example, the benches, part of the Adopt a Bench program, stuff like that, to help offset costs. But primarily, the cost of developing this will fall on donations and hopefully, possibly some kind of grant if we can find something to take care of that. And as you can see here, primarily what I wanted to show you was the drinking fountain. And this is a trail station that's in Pullman, just this side of Pullman, and this was the concept that we were working off of, and it's quite a pleasant place. And so hopefully someday when our trees grow, that we'll have something very similar to this. And with that, that's what I have, and so we're asking for the council's acceptance of the final design, and then we'll go forward and try to get the funding for this once we have that.
Dan, you heard this on Public Works and Finance?
Yes, we did, and I think Wayne and Art and I were at that meeting, and we recommended the approval of the design. There was some talk too, Dwight, about some plantings across the trail to help give some shade.
Yes.
In the future in that area, especially since that's basically facing the sunshine all day long.
Right about here. Plus, we will also, not to encourage, but more to prevent damage, we will space some of the plantings so that if somebody did try to get through there, that they could without damaging the planting.
Yeah, well, we didn't want to encourage continued use of the crossing that Dwight's showing up here.
Yeah, you can see the...
You know, it's not really an official crossing, but as you can see, it gets used. So, like Dwight said, they didn't want to make it to where whatever we did with the station didn't get damaged by continued use of that. And maybe something different will happen there in the future, but for now, it's just kind of leave it as it sits. And, unless there was any other discussion.
I wanted to just
Go
add
ahead.
a couple things. I think it's great to make sure that, you know, there's some, whatever informal crossing that happens there, people need to go over, grab lunch, whatever, and get back over. And, you know, there are lots of times where the traffic is not very heavy there, and it's easy to get through, so we know people are going to cross there anyway. But I think one of the things I'd like to really see happen with this is, and I'm not sure we need to, you know, dedicate it tonight, but I would really like to see this little node or park or whatever we're going to call it be done in the memory of John Dickinson. He was a city council member from Moscow. He loved both the Latah Trail and the Paradise Path, and that those two come together very close there. He taught himself the Beatles song Blackbird, and I think that's why this is getting named that way in the first place. But it would be nice, you know, at some point to even put a plaque there, you know, just mentioning him. And I, you know, from a purely financial perspective, I think it'll help us to raise dollars. But I do think that it would be very nice to honor his service to the community with something like this. So.
Comment? Just a real quick comment, just so that everybody's clear, that this was never intended to be a site for folks to come and drop their bikes off and go across and do their shopping or dining or anything like that. It's just too small.
Oh, yeah.
But as far as dedication and stuff, I mean, tonight's just the design, and of course we can address any of those kinds of things of John Dickinson or whatever when we get into
So you
the...
just need an approval for
Yes.
the designs that you're looking
Yes.
for. A vote on that.
Okay. John?
I'd move that we accept the design.
I'll second that.
Okay, we got a motion by John and a second by Dan to approve the design as it is laid out in front of us. Any discussion before I call for the vote? I'll start with Wayne.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's 4-0. Thank you very much, Dwight.
Thank you.
We have
Thanks.
accepted the design.